bringing you the news and information you need from the people making a difference. This is Comcast Newsmakers.
Hello and welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Barbara Rogers, and joining me in the studio is Michael Amon. He is the president of the Solano Economic Development Corporation. Thanks for dropping by.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
Well, tell me a little bit about the Solano Economic Development Corporation. I think is it called SEDCO or SEDCorp for short?
It used to be, but we changed the name to SOLANOEDC, which designates a county and an economic development organization.
So what does it do?
Well, for 27 years, we've been working with the 7 cities, the county, and the business community to attract investment into Solano County. That means to retain and grow our existing business as well as attract new business investment that leads to jobs.
Right now, what is the major business in Solano County?
Well, there are several, and actually what we did is an economic study that showed us 7 different clusters of growing businesses in Solano County. The most rapid is life science or biotechnology, and that's represented by Genentech, now Roche, Alza, which is part of Johnson & Johnson, Novartis, Biorad. There are several major biotechnology firms in Solano County.
And you said there are other areas. That's one, biotech.
Another traditional success story for Solano County is food and beverage. Of course, everyone probably knows Jelly Bellies. I just happen to have their tie on today.
But did you bring me some Jelly Bellies?
I have off camera, and we'll take care of that a little later.
All right.
But no, Jelly Belly, Guittard chocolate is another example of the candy cluster that we have. But agricultural is part of that too. We grow a number of varieties of tomatoes. Campbell's has a processing plant in Dixon on our eastern boundary. So agriculturally, we grow 80 crops over $1 million each. And those represents not only tomatoes, which I mentioned, but nuts and nursery stock. So a very diversified kind of agricultural base as well as food and beverage.
What has the Solano EDC done to get these businesses, this wide variety of businesses?
Well, part of our strategy, of course, is to work regionally to grow, as well as with another organization called Team California, where we market internationally and nationally to these particular target markets. To give you an example, in the Bay Area, we work very closely with Bay Bio, which is the industry association for life sciences. So we do a number of marketing activities and events with Bay Bio. On a statewide situation, we would again work with Team California and Bio a few years ago, which is the large international trade association, was located, their international meeting in San Diego. So we had the governor down, and we had a huge pavilion of which Vacaville had a booth, as well as other communities throughout the state. There's 2 examples.
And is there some kind of industry that you don't have that you'd love to attract at this point?
Really, we're working pretty much on successful companies and growing them within these 7 clusters. We're always on the lookout for new types of industries. We think that renewables would be one of those areas. There is over $2 billion worth of research going on in the Bay Area on alternative fuels. And we would think that over time that we would see that maybe come out into Solano County, because they need some land and be able to scale it up to service a regional area.
Well, that sounds like a good one to start on.
It sure does.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Michael Amon, who is president of the Solano Economic Development Corporation. And thank you for joining us for this edition of Newsmakers, and we'll see you again next time.
bringing you the news and information you need from the people making a difference. This is Comcast Newsmakers.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Barbara Rogers and I'm talking with Michael Amon, who is the president of the Solano Economic Development Corporation. Thanks for dropping by again.
You're welcome.
We've seen you once before and you're back now to talk more about what you're doing. And this time you want to talk to us about Team California. What is Team California?
Well, Team California is a collective marketing group of local economic developers such as ourselves, utility companies such as PG&E and Southern Cal Edison, and state agencies. And we work together to market the state of California. You might remember back in the Gray Davis's era of when he was governor, the Department of Commerce was eliminated from state government. So there was no active marketing group to sell the 8th largest economy in the world, California. So we came together and formed a not-for-profit private group which has a 2-year kind of planning cycle and goes out and works together to create trade shows, events, media, and other activities to market the great assets of the state of California.
So this doesn't just market Solano County, but all the whole state.
Yes.
When you are marketing those specifically Solano County, what is it you try to get people to see that is the advantage of coming into Solano County to locate their businesses?
Well, first you have to sell the state, and then you have to sell the region, and within that region then you sell the assets of Solano County. So when we look, for example, one of our most rapid growing areas, a targeted industry, would be life sciences. So when we start to sell California, it is the birthplace of biotechnology right here in San Francisco area, in South San Francisco to be exact, with Genentech. So we sell the assets of UC San Francisco, where Genentech came out of, and the venture capital that made that happen. And then I can also then tell the story about Genentech coming to Vacaville here in Solano County. So that's an example of selling the state back down to the regional area and then our own county.
Do you foresee a time when the biotech industry, since it is so associated with California, will be as great of an asset to the state as Silicon Valley, as the high tech? Because anywhere you go in the world and you talk about high tech, people mention Silicon Valley and really look at that as the mecca. Do you think that we will become at some point known for biotech in such a way that it will generate the same kinds of jobs and revenue that the high tech industry did?
Well, yeah, I think life science right now is the really only industry that's growing in the state of California. We've seen a lot of cutbacks and layoffs due to the global recession. But I think you have to understand that the biotech life science industry is a little smaller and a little more cohesive in group. They don't get as much publicity as Silicon Valley. But in fact, if you go talk to someone about life science and biotech in the world, they will quickly tell you about certainly what we have as an asset here in Northern California, South San Francisco, where the birthplace is. And if you mention Genentech, I think Vacaville will probably come up in that conversation. So it's a little smaller market segment of scientists who are really working hard to find cures and other ways to manage chronic illness. And so the folks that are involved with this area really know that we're on the map.
How have your efforts been going lately on marketing California?
Well, this year, as we have in the past, we put a pavilion together, Team California, which was highlighted of South San Francisco this year, along with the UC system. It was held in Chicago. It's an international conference and trade show. Approximately 20,000 people show up at that event.
And you got positive response?
We did, yes, and we're working on some prospects right now.
Good. We'll hear about that next time you stop by.
Great. Thank you very much
Thank
for your
you
time.
so much for stopping by. And thank you for watching this edition of Comcast Newsmakers. We'll see you again next time.